Sergeant Adams. All the senators. We have the CS Education appearing before the Senate to answer several questions from different senators. And therefore, I want to welcome you to the Senate, CS Education, Bwana Machogu, Ezekiel. We have a few questions and I want to start with the Senator for Nairobi City County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary.
Sorry, let me give some guidance. I will call all the questions to be asked at the same time, and then we can give a few senators for interventions. So proceed.
Most appreciated, Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Could the Cabinet Secretary confirm that Visa Usual Primary School in Westlands constituency, Nairobi, standing on LR number 209/5996, was categorized by the Ministry of Education as a public school in 1997? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the history of ownership of a said land and explain what the government is doing to settle the land dispute tussle, the land ownership tussle between the school and a private developer laying claim to the land? Finally, Mr. Speaker, let the CS for Education tell us what the fate of the 2,500 learners of the Visa Usual Primary School is in light of impending eviction by the private developer. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The other two questions from Senator Morango, Senator for Kirinyaga County. Senator Girori Roberts approached the chair that she has been requested to ask the questions on behalf of the Kirinyaga County Senator. Proceed and ask the two questions simultaneously.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 006 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County. Could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the staffing levels at Kirinyaga University, indicating the number of academic, administrative, and support staff? B, what proportion of each cadre of staff in the university is from the local community? And could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether there is a policy in place requiring universities to employ a fixed quota of staff from the local community? And C, what measures has the government put in place to ensure that institutions of higher learning involve the local community in their operations? Question number 024 by Senator from Kirinyaga County, James Murango. A, are there plans by the government to establish a national polytechnic or technical training institution in Kirinyaga County? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether budgetary allocation for the same will be made in the financial year 2024-2025? B, what initiative has the government taken to establish at least one national polytechnic or technical training institute in all 47 counties? Thank you.
The other questions from Senator Hedy. I cannot see him around. And Senator for Kakamega County. and Senator for the Rakanidi. These three senators cannot see them around or any other instructions from them. So let the CS respond to the questions by Senator Sifuna and Senator Muranga. I'm told Senator Boni wrote a letter that he is not around. So, and Senator Ketch, maybe you come back and ask his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members for according me this opportunity to respond to the number of questions raised by the Senate. I will start with the question from the Senator Nairobi County, which is about this particular school. And I want to state that the FISA also primary school was registered as a public school by the Ministry of Education, filed a registration certificate number PE/572/97, dated 12th August 1997. Again, the school was registered again to align with the status of the County Education Board on the 6th December 2016. Copies of the registration have been provided herewith, and in 2023, Honorable Speaker, the school was also approved to host the junior school. Currently, the school has a total enrollment of 2,535 runners, comprising 1,273 boys and 1,262 girls. They had 91 runners in ECD, 2,347 runners in primary school, and 742 runners in the junior school. There are 45 teachers employed by the Teacher Service Commission and 45 staff employed by the Board of Management and the Nairobi City County Government. The school serves about 1,800 parents and guardians. Honorable Speaker, the land on which the school stands, that is error number 209/5996, was granted by the Government of Kenya to the FISA Oswald Community Nairobi Registered Trustees way back in 1954. The land was granted for 99 years, effective 1954. The conditions of the grant include that the land shall be used for the construction of a school, and that the lease shall terminate if the school ceases to operate as such, that is, only for purposes of the school. The school initially ran as an all-Asian school before runners from other races were admitted in the year after independence, specifically starting from 1969. All along, Mr. Speaker, the school was run with teachers employed by the Teacher Service Commission on the understanding, of course, that this is a public school, and it also received monetary support under the free primary school program. However, the school buildings, on the other hand, were put up by the trustees. The question of whether the school is public or private, therefore, has been the subject of various court cases, and we have had protracted court cases for a number of years now, a total number of these cases being 5, which I'm sure the Honorable Senator from Nairobi is aware. The first one, Honorable Speaker, is Nairobi High Court Civil Case number 1474 of 2005, where the FISA Oswald community sued the then City Council of Nairobi. And they went to court alleging that the land on which the primary school operates since 1954 was built using the community resources, and therefore the city council had taken it over and converted it into a public primary school without a role of authority. They thus sought vacant possession of the property, and the court found ruled in their favor as per the attached judgment, which we have been able to attach. However, the status quo remained. The second case was Nairobi High Court Constitutional Petition number 262 of 2013, where again it was the community, the Fisher Oswari community, registered trustees, versus the Attorney General, Commission of Lands, and the Cabinet Secretary, Education then. And by letter dated 4th January 2013, the Commission of Lands wrote the trustees, giving them 6 months notice to surrender the subjected land, and the trustees, following that, filed a case against the commissioners, Commission of Lands, notice saying they violated their constitutional right to property and fair administrative action. On the 28th March 2014, the court dismissed the case as per the attached judgment. The court found that the school had been built on a public land since registration, having received teachers from the Teacher Service Commission, and the funding was provided under the Free Primary Education Program. A copy of the judgment is attached, Honorable Speaker. Again, following that, there was a Nairobi Court of Appeal, Civil Appeal number 126 of 2014, where the Fisher Oswari community, again, versus the Attorney General, Commission of Lands, and the Cabinet Secretary Education. Again, this particular appeal, judgment was issued on the 24th February 2019, and it was found to be in favor of the trustees. The court affirmed their rights over the land and held that there was no basis for the Commission of Lands to require the trustees to surrender their land. The Court of Appeal reasoned that the conditions in the grant did not categorize the school that was to be constructed, whether it was for public use or for private use. Following that, case number 4 now, the matter was taken to Supreme Court under application number 20E043 of 2020. The Board of Management and the Fisher Oswari Primary School versus Fisher Oswari Community, and then the Attorney General and the Minister for Education. And during that particular application, the School Board of Management applied for leave from the Supreme Court to appeal against the decision of 22nd February 2019 by the Court of Appeal. In its ruling, issued on 17th February 2022, the Supreme Court found that the fate of a public school is a matter of public interest, and that the Board of Management should be allowed to ventilate the matter in a proper forum. The Supreme Court directed the School Board of Management to institute its claim at the Environment and Lands Court. Following that, a case was filed, Nairobi ELC number E176 of 2022. The Board of Management again versus these trustees, and the case wanted a declaration that indeed the school is a public primary school, and the land in which it sits is public land for the public purpose of operating a school. The Minister of Education, in conjunction with the Attorney General, filed a replying affidavit in support of the school's case. In the meantime, the school also applied for conservatory orders, which to instruct the trustees from interfering with the management of the school. This application was either dismissed by the court on 24th November 2022, but the original main application is still pending in the court. Honorable Speaker, therefore, the ministry is actually working on this matter with the Attorney General and the Board of Management to safeguard and maintain the position that this particular school is a public school, and the land being occupied there is for public purpose and not for private purpose as such. So our position is clear on that we will still continue fighting this matter in court until the true position is maintained that this is run for public use and that this is a public school. So the 2,500 students are still going on in this particular school. It has not come to a time where, of course, we can say that there are any such eviction orders which can be able to take effect. And we are still maintaining that and fighting the matter in court. I so submit, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Proceed with the other questions. Give the answers to the responses.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable
County.
Speaker. The Kirinyaga issue is that Kirinyaga University is a public university that was chartered.
If possible, you can just summarize.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. That's better. Kirinyaga University is a chartered public university since 2016, and the total number of staff at this particular university is 284, Honorable Speaker, and out of these 284, 69 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga County, whereas 215 are from other counties across the country. The total number of support staff is 48. Out of this, 30 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, which represents 62.5%. The total number of clerical and administrative staff is 116, and out of this, 27 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, and that represents 23.27%. The total number of academic staff is 120, and out of this, Honorable Speaker, 12 are from the local community, which again translates into 10%. I have shown a schedule, which a table there, which is indicating clearly on this particular distribution. The second part of the question, I would like to state that the University Act is very clear that the responsibility of employing any staff of a university is given to the University Council, and of course we are aware that the Constitution of Kenya, Article 232, provides that values and the principles of public service, particularly when it comes to matters recruitment, we must take into consideration the following factors. One is fair competition and merit as the basis of appointment and promotion. Again, it must be representative of Kenya's diverse communities, as well as affording adequate and equal opportunities for appointment, training, and advancement at all levels. So, again, when you come to Section 7 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, Honorable Speaker, it also reinforces these provisions of the Constitution, which clearly states that we must seek to represent the diversity of the people of Kenya in the employment of staff, and that no public establishment shall have more than 1/3 of its staff from the same ethnic community. So a university being a state corporation bound by all these public sector rules on recruitment and employment of staff, we are also ensuring that we comply as much as possible as this particular one is concerned. There is no given policy really apart from the rules that have been able to state, which states that the employment must be of a fixed quota from the local community. But generally, the lower cadre, which is from grade 2 to grade 8, which comprises of the support staff and the junior administrative staff, they normally originate from the locality of the university. And this is not only for Kirinyaga University, but it's a pattern that we have all over other public universities. Particularly here, you can see that the lower staff, 62.5% originate from the local community, which is Kirinyaga County. The impact to the local community is the other set of the question. I would like to state that the local community is very important in the context that it is within that particular community that the university operates, and of course, it is that particular community which has to create a conducive environment for the university, and in particular, the security and the safety of the students, even as they go out of campus once after a while. We rely also on the local community, and therefore their support is very critical, Honorable Speaker. It is also, of course, very clear that universities provide employment opportunities, and in the cadre that I have said, the rural cadre, it is the local community that is able to benefit. And even when there are casual employment opportunities, the members of the local community, particularly when we are having any construction sites within universities, which, as you are aware, have been quite a number, and even university farms, we engage casual employees from the local community. As well, the universities also impact very positively on the local communities because they offer business opportunities such as accommodation, hostels for university students and staff, and also even the normal supplies to the university are also done by the communities. From the policy standpoint, Honorable Speaker, we always encourage universities to engage in research and also engage in community outreach, such that the findings of any research done can be of impact to the surrounding and the local community. If you go, for example, to the University of Dedan Kimathi, you can see the kind of engagement they have done in matters coffee growing and the great impact that it has had on the surrounding communities. So in that particular question, I think we have covered all the areas. I would like to go to the other section also on Kirinyaga. Yeah, the other one, Honorable Speaker, is about what branch government has to establish a national polytechnic in Kirinyaga. And I would like to state that, as we are all aware, in 2016, the government came up with a policy of establishing at least one national polytechnic in every county, and this was really focusing on the constitutional principles of equity, regional balance, and devolution of services. Alongside this, there was also a sub-policy of establishing at least one TVET institution in each constituency in all our 290 constituencies. As of now, with effect from 2016, immediately there were parameters, there was a clear criteria given on what and which TVET institution will be able to qualify for a national polytechnic status. Among the criteria that we followed was that the acreage must be a minimum of 50 acres, and they must have a title for that, and that they must have accreditation from TVETA for the programs that they offer must be approved by TVETA, and that it must also be situated in a high potential area where there is demand for TVET courses. And also, of course, once we establish a national polytechnic, there must be a request from the local stakeholders for establishment of such a national polytechnic. For the case of Kirinyaga, Honorable Speaker, we have three TTIs. One is Kirinyaga Central, which is in the Kirinyaga Central constituency, where we have only 93 trainees. The next one we have is in Moya constituency, the Moya TTI, which has 232 trainees. The third one we have is in India TTI, and it has only 593 trainees. And the one which is undergoing construction is the Machogu TTI, which is 80% complete. And out of these 4, we have not as yet received any such application for resettlement, so that we can be able to undertake the necessary process that TVET undertakes in order for it to be known whether it qualifies for a national polytechnic or it doesn't. Last year, Honorable Speaker, the year 2023, apart from the 8 that were started way back in 2016, we did again establish 13 more national polytechnics. So in total, we have now, I think, 24 national polytechnics in 22 counties, and there are 25 counties which are yet to apply and have national polytechnics. As far as TTIs are concerned, we have 237 TTIs in our 237 constituencies. We have 52 to go, and in this particular financial year, we were able to get funds to construct 15. So after this financial year again, we will remain with 37, because progressively as we get funds, we want to build one in each and every constituency. Honorable Speaker, I so submit, sir.
Okay, let's get the other question from Senator Hedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon to CS. Pleasure to have you here. My question, Mr. Speaker, is an assessment of what is going on with the CBC. And therefore, I'll start with asking the Minister about what progress has the government made in putting up necessary infrastructure, including classrooms, libraries, and laboratories in readiness for the enrollment of the first cohort of the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, class to join grade 9. And could the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, confirm whether the progress aligns with the originally set timelines that we all know as a country, and how is the government actively promoting awareness of the CBC curriculum? And could also the Cabinet Secretary, in that clarification, help us understand whether the government undertakes consultations on curriculum review with other key stakeholders, and of interest for us, Mr. Speaker, would be parents, teachers, and publishers. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, if the Cabinet Secretary would be kind enough to also provide an update on the implementation of the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on education reform, because that particular task force is had some very interesting timelines that we don't know that will be achieved before our children join grade 9. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. As you are aware, Honorable Senator Hedy, junior schools across the country currently have an enrollment of 2,279,052 and 52 runners in grades 7 and 8. Of course, as we know, in the old system of 844, we had classrooms in standard 7 and 8, which as of now, those ones have transitioned to senior school, which is our secondary schools, So as far as grade 7 and 8 are concerned, we don't have a problem as far as classrooms are concerned. The ministry has also done a needs assessment and determined that we have a shortage of 15,021 classrooms for those who will be transitioning into grade 9 next year, the year 2025. We have tabulated the number of classrooms we require countrywide as per county, and have attached the table there for members to be able to confirm. Honorable Speaker, the government has also taken proactive steps to ensure that the infrastructure requirement for 2025 is in place. And for that particular purpose, the government has been able to allocate a conditional grant of 3.39 billion to the National Government Constituent Development Fund, which is being distributed across the constituencies, of course, taking into consideration the needs assessment which we have done covering the entire country. The CDF, we have agreed, is also supposed to match this funding from their allocation, such that once we do one classroom using these funds, they will also be able to do another one classroom. Out of this, we expect that we should be able to do 6,000 integrated resource centers for our junior school. Additionally, we have engaged World Bank, Honorable Speaker, and we have an allocation of 9 billion, money which we are also using to ensure that we construct another 9,000 classrooms, which in total will make 15,000. So we are working hard this particular year in order to make sure that the necessary required infrastructural development in our schools is done in readiness for admission of the grade 9, which will be domiciled in the existing primary schools. And I want to emphasize on that point, because grade 9 will be in the existing primary schools. They are not going to senior school. Senior school, they will be able to go after grade 9. And promoting awareness, we have taken a lot of steps to ensure that we promote awareness on the CPC system through an inclusive and participatory process. One such process, Honorable Speaker, was undertaken way back in 2019, but before then, we know that we are undertaking our first implementation of CPC since 2017, where we have 2 years pre-primary, 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior school, 3 years in senior school, and 3 years in university. That is the kind of structure we have. And the implementation of this particular structure, Honorable Speaker, was based on sessional paper number 1 of 2019, which was a policy framework for reforming education and training for sustainable development in Kenya. The same sessional paper was presented in Parliament, the last Parliament. It was debated and approved, and it is on the basis of that particular policy paper, which was approved in Parliament, that we have that particular structure in place. We have also embraced various other methods in order to create awareness, such as public forums, press releases, circulars, and official statements to convey information on key issues in CPC, such as the domiciling of junior school, and also the guidelines for implementation of the junior school. We did our various public forums, and including the rationalization of the running areas, because we have been able to reduce the running areas as recommended by KICD in almost each and every level. The other state agencies which are very much involved in...
Sorry, for interrupting you, but I think Senator Andy seems like he's satisfied with your response. Yeah, so if you can summarize.
Yeah, thank you.
So that I can
Thank
give
you.
a few
The
senators
Presidential Working
some
Party.
2-3 minutes to ask their supplementary question.
Yeah, the Presidential Working Party, if I can summarize in this.
Senator Eddy, because the response is with you, if you are satisfied with the response from the CS, then we can save some minutes for the other senators. Are you? Is satisfied. So, Honorable CS, the Senator is happy with your response already.
Yeah, thank you.
To save you some time so that I can give a few senators to ask their supplementary question. Let me start with your senator for Kisii County.
Thank you, CS. Mr. Speaker, this is actually for me the first time that I have been in this house when the CS is giving an answer, and you know he comes from my county, so I'm happy to see him. CS, I wanted to ask you, because if you look at all the technical vocational training institutes which are actually under your ministry, they seem to be having a problem, and that is most of these TVETs are being managed and run by the county governments, and yet there is supposed to be an interface between them and whatever that the county governments are doing. The question I wanted to bring on forth to you is that you know that primary schools are given bursary fundings, secondary schools and even university students, and the problem is that students who go to technical vocational training institutes are actually supposed to be getting bursaries, but we do not have those lists. I, as a senator of Kisii County, Waziri, I don't know whether I should expect the county government to pay their fees, or their bursaries, or whether it is your ministry that is supposed to do that. Number two.
I have only one supplementary question.
Just one more, sir.
Senator Mofaya asked a question that skipped in my mind.
Just one more. It won't even take 20 seconds.
Please.
The question, the last one I would ask is the way you have given conditional grants to CDF, and this is money that is going into CDF construction projects in primary schools and secondary schools. What I would like the CS is, are you also considering the possibility that we can actually avail funds for the technical vocational training institutes which are under county government, so that they can also get conditional grants, because some of these TVETs don't even have furniture, they don't have any equipment, so that then they can be useful pertaining to their relationship with the KK government's policy and agenda of introducing industrial parks, because I believe the children from the technical vocational training institutes are the ones who should be recruited from the technical vocational institutes, so that they can go and work in the industrial parks, because the two are related. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Before you answer, Senator Mofaya, Mwenda Kataya, ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am seeking to know from the minister whether the county cabinet secretary stated when the government will distribute 9 billion allocated to Kamotwandu Primary School in Gatunga Ward in the Rakaniri County for infrastructure development, being the balance of 10 billion, which was allocated to the school in the financial year 2019-2020. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary could he explain the reason for the delay in the disbursement of the 9 billion to the school, because it has taken quite a lot of time before this money was distributed to the school.
Answer the 2 questions.
Yeah, thank you, the Honorable Speaker, sir. To start with the question from the Honorable Senator from my county, Kisii, is that we have 2 categories here. One that is under national government, which is technical training institutes, which are under national government, which I said the government policy is to ensure that we establish one in each and every constituency, and up to now we have 238 so far established. We have 52 to go, And this particular financial year, we have a budgetary allocation to do 15 of them, and therefore we will be able to remain with 37. And out of this, it is government which provides funds, like for each of the 15, we have been provided with 52 million, and the constituencies are also supposed to give 10 million, such that the total cost of each and every one of them will be 62 million, not more than that. For these ones, again, the students going into these particular colleges, the government gives capitation. Based on the numbers, based on the enrollment, we give capitation to the students joining these particular TTI colleges. And again, even the students also enjoy getting loans from Higher Loans Education Board. They also enjoy special grants which the government gives. For vocational training centers, which is clearly spelled out in our Constitution, Schedule 4, which of course separates functions of national government from county government. This is the preserve responsibility of our county governments. And before 2021, Honorable Speaker, national government, as you are aware, used to give a conditional grant to the counties for purposes of these vocational training centers to cater for equipment in these particular vocational training centers. But following arguments and I think consideration between the national government and the county governments requested for conversion of this conditional grant of 2 billion to an equalization fund. Ever since that time, unfortunately, the money is given out by national government as equalization fund, and it is not used purposely and strictly for purposes of vocational training centers, and some of them are in a pathetic situation. We had in a discussion with the county governments through the Committee of Education, Governor's Committee on Education and the Ministry of Education, what we can be able to do in order to have these particular vocational training centers serve the purpose for which they were intended to serve, because if we also don't get it right here, the kind of technical staff, skilled people with the kind of competencies we require at that particular level, it will be quite a challenge. So we are aware of the problem with the vocational training centers. We don't extend any capitation from national government to these ones because it is the county governments which are supposed to be responsible. So there is that problem which we will hopefully be able to sort out in the near future. The question from the senator from Tharaka Nithi about the primary school, yes, I'm aware, and I'm sorry that this was brought to my notice. We did not have it actually in the schedule of those that were pending, because we would have done something, but I've seen it has been pending since 2019, 2020. It is only in the year 2020-2021 financial year that an allocation of 1 million was made to this particular primary school, and therefore there is a balance of 9 million. And what I have, Honorable Speaker, as of now, to be able to give to the entire country, and of course we must make sure that the money is equitably spread to all the schools in all the countries, all the counties in Kenya, is only 102 million to give to the various areas, because I must ensure that there is equity, and each and every county within the country, the 47 counties must be covered. So I have allocated you, because you can see the amount we have, the resources have been limited. So progressively we will be allocating depending on what we have. And the Honorable Speaker, this year I will have allocated 2 million to go to that particular school. And my good friend from Tharaka Nithi, by next week, if you pass through my office, you will be able to get confirmation that the money has actually been deposited in the school account. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Okay. Chair Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have, and I beg that you allow me to kindly ask Chair Education to place 2 questions to the CS. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first question relates to what Senator Eddy has asked, and is about preparation, Mr. Speaker, on the admission to grade 9, which the CS has handled very well. But my question to the CS is, what arrangements are there, even as we gear towards 2026, when we are going to admit the first lot in senior secondary school, that is grade 10. And why I ask these, or most specifically, for the CS to let the House know, Mr. Speaker, because we know that there are going to be 3 pathways in secondary schools as we know them today. There'll be STEM, there'll be arts and sports, and there'll be, if I'm not wrong, languages and business. So the clarification that I'm seeking, Mr. Speaker, is will we have specific schools offering specific pathways, or all schools at grade 10 will offer all the 3 pathways? That is my first question, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, and which concerns me as Chair Education, because people keep calling us, is from, I think, from an appearance by the PS Basic Education at the National Assembly, where he said that government or the ministry is being forced to reduce capitation to secondary school students, which has stood at over 22,000 some hundreds, Mr. Speaker. And now the PS reported that because of the growing numbers of students in secondary schools, that the ministry has been forced to reduce these to 17,000 Kenya shillings for every student. So my question then would be, because we know that the allocation to the Ministry of Education actually was the highest this year, that is budgetary allocation, are there no internal mechanisms of seeing to it that we allocate more to capitation from whatever has been allocated, so that students continue receiving the 22,000 Kenya shillings, if not more? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Let's get another question from Senator Oburu. Oburu Ondinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I don't admire the CS in the position in which he is, because it is a very, very hot seat, Mr. Speaker. And I have 2 very quick questions, Mr. Speaker.
And because of time, more sensitive.
Mr. Speaker, on the Visa Oswald question brought by Honorable Sifuna, it appears the ministry has been losing successive cases to the Visa Oswald community, one after another. And now they have even gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court referred them to some environmental courts, and Mr. Speaker, they have lost again. Mr. Speaker, why put the 2,000 students in jeopardy? Why does the ministry consider, if you can't defeat them, join them? Why can't you consider, because that trustee is not individual, it is not private, it is for the community, that community called the Oswald community. Why don't you negotiate with them so that the school is managed by the public, by the ministry, in perpetuity, and they continue to be there calling themselves trustees, and the students are not jeopardized? Why don't you consider that option? Because we know schools where that happens, Mr. Speaker. If you allow me, Mr. Speaker, just on another question altogether, on the one of polytechnic, of TTCs.
ask a direct question. So
Yeah,
that also-
direct, Mr. Speaker. This is a direct question. What kind of representation do you have? Why do you keep on losing cases? Because I have a TTC in my own constituency, Bondo, where it was so clear I'm the one who paid for land, 10 acres for that TTC, and it was lost. They lost the case. What kind of representation do you really have legally for yourself? Why do you keep on losing such cases? And how many faculties are supposed to be in a TTC or a TTI? You call it TTI. In a TTI, how many faculties are you supposed to have? Because that one we have was supposed to have 5, and we only have building and civil engineering only. The others, like the others which were to be there, are not mechanical, electrical, and all the others. There was supposed to be 5, and none of them is there. How many are supposed to be there in a TTI?
Senator Chute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine will be a very quick one. Under Article 43(1)(f) says that every person has the right to education. In Marsabit County, North Horr constituency, there is a problem amongst the Muslim community and the board of North Horr School on wearing of hijab. Is the minister aware that that problem, which has occurred in North Horr, if yes, how is he going to solve that problem? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Next is Senator Milaj, yes. Milaj.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Could the CS provide the current status of the recognition of prior learning RPL program that is supposed to identify, assess, and certify skills that were learned in informal sector? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Azena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to also ask if the CS can tell the House if he's aware that several schools have been closed in Samburu County due to insecurity, and if there are any emergency funds that have been set by the by his ministry to ensure that the schools in Samburu resume operation, and schools in other parts of the country where insecurity has led to closure of schools and displacements of students. Lastly, since the Minister of Roads is visiting Samburu on 22nd, I would also like to know that if the CS for Education has put among his plans a day to visit these affected areas in Samburu County to ascertain the level of displacement by insecurity of schools. Because, Mr. Speaker, about 5 schools and several ECDs are closed as we speak. Thank you.
Senator Ndamo. That's the last one, then you can answer.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ningependa kupata majibu kwa Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Elimu kuhusiana na katiba ya Kenya, makala ya 189, ushirikiano kati ya serikali za ugatuzi na serikali ya taifa imeelezewa vile ambavyo wanaweza shirikiana. Mheshimiwa Spika, ratiba ya 4 sehemu ya 16 pia imegawa zile jukumu za serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi. Ningependa kuelewa kutoka kwa waziri ni kwamba imekuwaje shule za sekondaria na pia shule za msingi kwa sasa zinajengwa na serikali za ugatuzi. Imekuwaje kuwa kwamba zile madarasa ya ECD ama ya kiwango kidogo ya chini sana hazijengwi kabisa na serikali za ugatuzi, na serikali kuu haisumbuliwi na jambo hilo. Ningependa sana kujua ni vipi kama wako na ushirikiano ambayo wameshirikiana kati ya serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi, waweze kutueleza. Asante.
Thank you. In excesses of, because of time and the interest that I can see as this issue has generated, and the CS has some few minutes to answer the questions that you have asked, I will exercise standing under that 4-2A to extend this sitting for another 15 minutes. And then by 1:15, we should rise to close this session. So, Senator Romenen, ask your question briefly and direct to the point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask the CS whether the schools that were destroyed and devastated by the bandits in Turkana County have been constructed.
So, CS, you have various questions. You can just sum up your response to all of them.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The first question is from the Senator from Murang'a, who is again my chair of the Education Committee. I would like to assure the House that all the necessary preparations, Honorable Speaker, for senior school, which will commence with effect from 2026, are in top gear. One, we have been able to look at the aspect of infrastructural development, and according to our assessment, because it will be 3 years, and even the number of classrooms and the apparatus we have in a number of our existing secondary schools is quite adequate. So they will be able to accommodate all our needs as far as infrastructural development is concerned. Again, Honorable Speaker, you can be able to confirm that this administration, ever since 2022, we have been able to put in place very good arrangements for teacher recruitment. Up to now, we have been able to recruit 56,750 teachers, right from primary to junior school all the way to senior school. And in order for us to be able to prepare these particular teachers to be properly equipped in matters of junior school and even senior school, we have undertaken a retooling, particularly on areas of pedagogy. We are also worked on the curriculum, not only for primary and junior school, but the KICD is also making the necessary preparation such that when we come to 2026, we should be able to have the curriculum in place. As rightly said, we will have 3 pathways. One is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The other one is social sciences, commonly known as humanities. The other one is performing art, music, athletics. The purpose of having this, Honorable Speaker, is we are going to, like the years we went to school, you remember after Form 4, we used to have Form 5 and 6, where if you were good in sciences, or if you wanted to take a line in sciences, you were free to take that particular line, because we want to nurture talent. Not all of us can be talented in sciences, not all of us can be talented in humanities, and some of us are very good in athletics, in performing art, and we want to give and develop and nurture talent where it is identified that one is good in a certain area. We are kind of coming up with a plan, and we have come up with a sessional paper. The sessional paper will be discussed in the Parliament, but the many amendments that we have come up with emanating from the recommendations made by the Presidential Working Party. So it will have specific answers. There might be areas where we will have pure STEM. There might be areas where we might have broad mixture. A school is undertaking humanities and also undertaking pure sciences. But I don't want to preempt that particular debate because I know the session of paper, once it is discussed in Parliament, we should be able to specifically agree on which way to go. Concerning capitation, I think there was a question from the Honorable Senator of Kakamega, and in that particular question, I've been able to indicate specifically where we are as far as matters capitation are concerned, and I want again to confirm that, of course, government is committed to this, because these are issues which are enshrined in the Constitution. Article 53(1)(b), we cannot run away from it. In basic, that is in primary and secondary, we will continue giving capitation. Of course, the amounts which are supposed to be given in primary is 1,420 per annum. In the junior school, we are supposed to give 15,040 per annum per year, and in the senior school, we are supposed to give 22,240. But for the last 6 years, because of the reducing allocations, if you see what I've given in that answer, from the year 2017-2018, the amount given was not exactly 22,000. It was, I think, 21. Progressively, as years have moved on, like last financial year, the amount we were able to give was 17,000 per annum. We are having discussions with the National Treasury on this. The Cabinet has been able to direct accordingly, because allocations to education are based on real numbers. The enrollment of our students, whatever level they are, such that it is based on that we are supposed to get allocations. And I think we are putting up a good case, because we think once the National Treasury and the Parliament allocates adequate resources, meaning we restore the figures as given way back from 2018 at the 22,000 for senior school and these other amounts for junior school, then our schools should not be able to undergo the kind of challenges that we are undergoing now. That is where we are, but moving forward, we are hoping that things will be better than they have been there before. The question from the Honorable Senator Oburu Dinga about losing cases. Out of the 5 cases that we have had in court, Honorable Speaker, we were able to win 2 cases and we lost 3. You know, when you go to a court of law, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So we are putting up a very, very serious fight, and we are hopeful because, you know, when the ministry is taken to court, we also prepare the necessary required documents, and it is the Attorney General, as it were, who represents us in this particular area. So we are hoping that we are not going to let it go. Engagement with the local community members, you know, this particular school, before government came in and said no, parents should not be able to give an amount of money, it used to operate in a way, public school, government is giving everything, but there were individuals charging money, kind of school fees. Ever since the time we stopped this, that is when the problem came about, because we said they should not be able to charge parents because it's a public school like another. So that is why you see now the fight where they want to gain control of the school, where then it will be able to operate like a private school, kind of. The faculties in the TTIs, it depends and varies from one TTI to another, but we are encouraging all our TTIs that particularly technical courses, building and civil engineering, electrical, all those automotive, mechatronics, and of course, there are a few other business courses which Also, you find business, design and fashion, hospitality. You will find some doing agriculture. So it varies from one TTI to another. But we are encouraging that each and every TTI must have at least a minimum of 5 such faculties, programs, and that is why the government this last financial year was able to employ 1,300 trainers. This year we are in the process of hiring another 2,000 trainers so that our TTIs can be well equipped as far as teaching and other equipment are concerned. We are also acquiring equipment this year, 71 of them, for 71 TTIs, such that they can also be able to have equipment in order to undertake all the required programs in any given TTI. I'm not aware about a case concerning Pondo, that again, we roasted that case. We have taken note of it, and I think we should be able to take it from there. Marsabit, I think the Honorable Senator knows that ever since my appointment, I've been in Marsabit 3 times. We have been able to engage with the local leaders, very serious around matters education, and we have been able to agree on the way to go, including I was the chief guest in Marsabit during the Education Day, attended by including the local members of parliament and the governor, and I think what we agreed to do on matters education so that we are able to improve the quality and the performance, we will be able to cooperate in order for us to be able to do that. Samburu County, I'm aware there have been those cases, particularly Baringo and Turukana, and because of that, you are aware that we were able to give funds to Turkana schools. Honorable Senator can confirm. And
Just a minute, Honorable CS. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, a very quick one. My question was about Notor on the issue of hijab wearing in Notor. There's a problem, and that is what
I would answer that one.
Thank you very much.
I would answer that one. So, Samburu, probably I require to know the specific names of schools which have been closed down because of acts of banditry, and in cooperation with my colleague in internal security, we should be able to work on that. And where we have been able to remedy the situation, like areas in Baringo and Turukana, we have taken steps of reopening those schools. So, Madam, I think we can engage so that you tell me the specific schools, and we see what mitigating factors we can be able to undertake in collaboration with other agencies in government, and any particular means of internal security, so that we have the schools reopened as soon as possible. Honorable Speaker, recognition for prior running, I'm happy to report this House that this is a policy which has been running somewhere, but we have been able to take it up. We were able to engage public participation. We also took it to Cabinet. It was approved, and I'm rolling out that policy. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya will be the chief guest on Friday, and it will give an opportunity for many of our young people, because there are so many people who are qualified. They have the skills and the competencies of making anything, but they don't have certification. So we are also now on that, and we should be able to start giving that with effect from Friday when we are rolling out that particular policy. I'm aware about the Marsabit. I've had a meeting because there are schools which were established by Catholic. There has not been any problem for many years, because those schools have been there for almost 20 years, if not more, and the Senator knows there was no problem. We had an isolated incident last year in one school, and I think there was a recurrence of the same this particular year. We have directed the local community, the Bishop of Catholic.
Honorable says we shouldn't be concluding.
So we have directed the local community to engage, and I hope they should be able to get an amicable solution in this. Finally, my friend and neighbor from Narok is that yes, we are distinct two levels of government, but we complement each other. And that is why I said, particularly on matters of ECD, we issue policy on matters where the county thinks that they can be able to come in and support an educational institution such as a primary or a secondary school. We cannot say no, but as you know, it is mainly the members of parliament who are able to support us as far as infrastructure is concerned. So we really cooperate and assist each other.
Maybe
Thank you.
In 10 seconds, you comment on Turkana schools.
Yeah, as I said, the Turkana schools, actually, we have been able to repute 5 schools. We gave 100 million to Turkana. The member of parliament is aware. I personally went to Turkana, and Honorable Speaker, I think some of those schools have been reopened.
Senator Roman, you just confirm with the office, and also Senator Zena, you confirm
Yes.
with CS
Yeah,
at his office. So, Honorable CS, thank you very much for your time, for getting time to come to the Senate to answer the questions raised. And therefore, I want to release you so that we can conclude our business. Thank you so much indeed. There are questions which were directed to National Treasury, Lands, and Ministry of Interior. So those questions will be rescheduled, maybe from next week. Therefore, yes, I had mentioned that Bonnie Karwal and in question, and in that it's already in the answer. So, Honorable Senators, having concluded the business for which you extended sitting pursuant to Standing Order